Hey everyone, and welcome back. So I wanted to finally do that update video that I've been meaning to do, I think now for the last like 3 months or something like that. And actually it worked out that I didn't do it earlier because there's a couple things I have added to this sort of update that I'm glad it is sort of starting off the new year. So I guess you can kind of look at it as sort of like a couple updates and a couple things, but also goals for the year ahead. Now, definitely the one thing that none of you want to hear about, but I just want to mention real quick, and then I will probably never... I probably will mention it again, but I will try and keep it to a minimum, and that is indeed my hair. As some of you know, I'm growing my hair out just a little bit longer than I'm used to. It's already actually pretty long. A little bit longer, and it should be about where I want it to be. I do need to actually go in and get it cut just to kind of, clean it up a little bit. Actually, I haven't gotten a haircut in many months now. I know this isn't a big deal to some of you, but, when you have your hair sort of more or less the same for like 15 years or so, and then you try something new, it's a bit of an adventure, and trying to learn how to style it also differently, which I'm not used to. And even trying to get it like this for today, this took like way longer than I wish it did. So I'm still trying to find that happy medium between, being able to style it fairly quickly, but also kind of work with it still being long. But again, it's a process. So don't be surprised if it changes slightly from video to video, at least for a little bit longer. All right, enough of the hair talk. I know most of you don't care. Thank you for not caring. But so let's move on to some of the specific things for the channel. There's a lot of things I definitely want to do for the channel now that it's actually gotten to a milestone. It actually passed 5,000 subscribers, which actually I didn't notice for a bit, and then I got a notification from YouTube saying, like, congratulations, and I was like, wait, what? And I kind of looked, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've actually passed 5,000 subscribers. I know some people pass it within like a couple months. It's taken me many years, but that's okay. I'd rather have it grow slowly, but I sort of see a lot of you, with your like comments and everything. Like I like seeing the same people. There's like a comfort level there. And not that I welcome new people, don't get me wrong, but it's like, it's kind of nice that it's not always like, oh, here's a bunch of comments from people I don't know. It's like, I like seeing you guys that have been around for like a while. And then when I do see like new people, it's cool. And then you see them like, maybe come back again for another video. It's like, that's part of the process, but it's always kind of fun and exciting to see the people who've been there for a while, and then see people who sort of find your stuff, for whatever reason, and then actually do stick around. So I'm going to actually tackle probably the big thing first, is that, so up to this point, obviously YouTube, so YouTube for me started as a like a hobby, something fun to do on the side, between sort of everything else, because it was just nice to do videos. And even early on, I was doing a couple like pickup videos and things like that. And I think a little bit more stuff on photography and things at the time. And pretty much no one watched them. Just like, most YouTube channels. Like I think only had like a couple close friends who were watching my stuff. And, for like a couple years, like just those didn't really go anywhere. But they were very sporadic too, and they were also overly long, which I've noticed on YouTube, especially when you're starting. I highly recommend, if you're starting off on YouTube, keep your videos as short as possible. If they're too long, there's a good chance people won't watch them. And that was something I definitely learned when I relaunched my channel a couple of years, 5 years ago maybe, where I kind of did like a full relaunch. And I was like, okay, I want to kind of start taking this a little bit more seriously. And I started treating it almost like a part-time job, a side job. And I put much more effort into it, which I know sometimes it doesn't look like it because I'm just sort of sitting here. But believe me, there's actually a lot of effort that does go into these videos. And once I started putting in the effort, and again, being very mindful of running time and things like that, all of a sudden the channel started to grow. And it now has gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? I actually want to treat this not as a sort of part-time job or a side job or something, but actually almost like a full-time job. Not to take away from my other work, but it's the kind of thing where like I started thinking about it. I was like, if I actually dedicate myself to treating this like it's also a full-time job, I think this channel could actually be a lot more what I want it to be in many ways. Kind of have some of the like the update videos, the news ones like they did more recently, like have those really happen like very, very quickly. And start doing other types of videos, which actually I'm going to cover Right now, I did actually make a small list of stuff I do want to do. Obviously, with the live streams, which I do, I know I've been mentioning that for a while. Definitely want to start doing those. I want to start doing interviews and things like that, and obviously things even like reviews. I want to do reviews now much more often. I know the reviews have been kind of a bit sporadic, kind of here and there, but the nice thing about doing reviews is they work for multiple reasons. One, I think actually most of you want to know, like, reviews, like, is this release good, bad, decent, what's the deal, for a lot of that stuff. And honestly, just from a sort of YouTube standpoint, those are the ones that people will always watch, because some of my videos are timed, so to speak, like news, like announcements and things like that. Those are usually only good for a week, maybe two at the most, but other than that, and then past that, it's like, well, they kind of don't matter anymore. Pickups videos can be kind of in between, but reviews, because even if somebody like was interested in buying a movie, maybe like a year or two after it comes out, then they're like, well, should I pick this up? And they'll do a search. So, they'll always kind of come back to videos like that. So those I really want to invest more time in. And then there are all kinds of other videos, like some of the ones you guys have recommended and that I really, really want to do, just kind of like some fun, like interesting, like movie videos as far as like favorite, directors and favorite types of films that maybe are a little bit more obscure. And like music, some of you are also collect like soundtracks and stuff, and like I've really been meaning to do that for like a long time. There's just a lot of stuff like that. And obviously eventually there will be a room tour. I know I've been talking about that I actually went back and sort of was like, when did I do the last one? And it was like 2.5 years ago, which is insane to think about. And it's because things have actually changed since then. And unfortunately, this room right now is sort of being used as almost like a multi-purpose room, because I'm trying to change this room and another room around the same time. And sometimes I need to bring stuff from there over here. And then eventually, once I get that, I can take stuff out of here. And then so it's a kind of a balancing act, and it's been a little bit of a struggle, which is why there's been kind of delays in that. So I definitely want to do that room tour as soon as possible, but I'm not gonna lie, it's probably still gonna be a couple more months. And honestly, it's just a good way to do it, because I actually went back and it was like, God, what did my last room tour? Because I also get comments on that here and there as well, and I kind of looked and like that has like 83,000 views. I'm like, what? It's like that's like, if that's not incentive enough to do another one, I guess, because like I know there's some other channels, it's like every couple months they do a room tour, and it's just like, you haven't really changed much, but you're doing a room tour video. I understand why. It's because people watch those videos, and not everyone who watches those videos, may have seen your previous one. So I definitely understand, wanting to do those kind of videos, some good ad revenue that you can get from those. And also a couple other things that I definitely want to get to, which I'll get more specific as I kind of get closer to doing them. But I definitely want to start talking about one or two more personal things. That's one thing specifically that I've been kind of debating, going back and forth about. And I kind of decided, like, you know what? I've had to look up videos online just to see how other people kind of deal with a certain thing. And I was like, they've been so helpful to me. Wouldn't be a bad idea for me to also kind of just share my own experience, because I think it'll be good, to, if I could maybe help some other people who were like me, who didn't know where to turn, and then you kind of found someone else, and it's like, actually, okay. And because it is personal, I have kind of gone back and forth, but I was like, I probably should kind of get over that and just share that. So now that video, those kinds of videos, for example, they will be separate. I'll mark those differently. So for those of you who don't want to watch those, that's fine. Like, it'll be easier to skip over if you're not interested, because the channel in and of itself is not going to change. What I want is just a lot more of, stuff on movies, and again, aspects of movies, and obviously like releases, physical releases especially. That's obviously a big push for this channel, because it's something I really, really believe in. Nothing against digital, but obviously I'm all about physical releases as well. I don't want those to disappear. And also something I've been talking about for a while, I know some of you have sort of asked about it, and sometimes when I bring it up, I've gotten a couple comments in regards to some of my Star Wars, interest in Star Wars, my Star Wars collecting. Probably a chunk of you may not be interested. I know I've got a couple of people who are like, yeah, if you want to put something up on the channel about it, but it's like, I'm not really interested. And the more I thought about it, I was like, I think the majority of this channel Well, there might be one or two things here and there that sort of kind of go off sort of the norm. The majority of this channel is basically about movies with a very strong interest in horror films and physical media. That's kind of like the main drive of everything that's going to be in this channel. And so with the Star Wars stuff, the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? That should just be a separate channel. So I'm actually creating a second channel that's only going to be Star Wars stuff. It's going to be like my thoughts on some of the stuff, you know, movies and like some of the streaming shows that they have on, and about my Star Wars collection, because that's one of the things I am working on in the other room. Is I'm going to be setting up a whole Star Wars display in there with a bunch of my stuff. And I have things that I'm just dying to, like, I've gotten that I'm dying to open up and set up, but it's like, it's going to be a process. It's still going to be probably a couple more months before that channel is up and running. Now, I've created the channel. There's nothing there at the moment. I mean, I'll leave a link if you want to go ahead and jump over there. I kind of went through different names and I decided like, there should be some sort of link to this channel in the naming. And I remember one day, like just out of the blue, it was just like, what about Rebel Ramblings? And I was like, I kind of like that actually. So at least it may change, but for right now, the other channel is called Rebel Ramblings. And I'll leave a link. But again, there isn't anything right now. There may not be anything for at least another 2 months, I would say. But I'll give you just, what can I show? Like, here's something I got in recently that I've been wanting to get for the longest time. It's just to give you an idea. This is Wedge Antilles X-Wing, which I'm going to unbox, and I'm going to have a whole, like, hanger display with a bunch of the ships and everything. This is from, I think, the Legacy collection from many, many years ago. But it still looks awesome. And so, like, there's stuff like that. Again, I've been dying to open this, but I don't want to open it too soon because I don't know where to, like, it's easier if it's still boxed. You know, some of the stuff I could just pile on top of each other until that room is ready. But that room is going to be a separate thing. I mean, I'm going to use a different camera in that room. So much like this room, this setup, you know, can be, you know, done very quickly, so I can record the videos in here, and all the videos for this channel outside of the live streams, which will be in my office, I guess I basically call it that. So that background will be a little bit different, but I say about, you know, again, outside of the live streams, all the videos are pretty much going to be, you know, in this room, unless I decide to, you know, take a camera with me and go somewhere else, which actually I might do. But so this technically for this channel is not going to change, but for the for the Star Wars channel, that definitely will be in a different room. So that'll be a whole different setup, even the whole different camera and all that. But again, I'll talk about that more for any of you that are interested once I get closer to that being ready. So there's actually a couple more things, but you know what? I think I've been rambling on enough. You know, I know it's the subtitle to this channel, but it's like still, you know, it's like I got to keep these things under control. But I just want to say, like, nothing's going to change. Everything's still going to be the same as far as this type of videos. I just want to do more of them, and I'm going to make sure that I'm much more dedicated to doing more of them and adding these other things that sort of play in the same thing, you know, as far as like movies and horror films go and everything. So I wanted to let you guys know, like, this is what's going to be happening over the course of the year. I don't want to set up a deadline or anything or specific dates, because honestly, it just seems like things change. Like, because my original goal was to have a lot of this stuff start literally in January, like right now. Like, it was you know, I was going, oh, this is going to start like right now. I was like, oh, you know what, there's too much kind of going on. So I'm just going to say that this is my goal over the course of this year. Again, turn this into, like, you know, not take away from my other work, but literally treat it as a full-time job and make it a full dedication and take it seriously, so I can add all this other content, do all these other things, and eventually add the second channel. Have I really thought this out well? Do I really want to tackle all this? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. There may be times where I'm like, oh man, I'm doing too much, but you know what? I'd rather do too much than not enough. I don't know, if you guys have any thoughts or anything, definitely let me know. Any recommendations as well for anything else that you want to see on this channel. You know, things I can kind of, you know, start planning as well. Now, I will say a lot of the stuff is going to be kind of rolled out over the next several months. So like January may technically still be a little bit on the light side. I'm trying to finish up some of this other stuff. But I want to make sure I'm still making headway. And then, you know, hopefully then February, I can do more, March, even more, April, you know, that kind of thing. So hopefully, you know, by like spring or something, it's kind of much more in the groove, you know? Hopefully. That's my goal. So we'll see. Definitely a lot here. But again, I want to thank all of you so much. I mean, I'm still amazed that there's like 5,000 subscribers here. I actually need to, I want to do something special too. Now that we have gotten, maybe, I don't know what to. I want to think of something. I want to think of something that we can to celebrate that sort of 5,000 subscriber mark. I don't know. I'll come up with something, or if you have a recommendation, definitely let me know. All right, that's enough of this rambling video. So again, thank you guys so much. And as always, I really appreciate all of you. I think I screwed up my ending line, didn't I? Yeah, it's like, as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. That's what I usually say. Jeez, you think by this point I would have had that down pat, but no. So let's try it again. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.